Happy first day of spring to you all, and welcome to my forest countdown specially made for the occasion. Spring is definitely that time of year when regions recover and regain life from the deadly snowstorms. Nature returns, the weather gets warmer, beautiful flowers bloom, and animals come out of hibernation. Despite dealing with setbacks like pollen and bees, or the unpredictable and sometimes torrential showers. My favorite season is autumn, but hey, my favorite color is green, and it's synonymous with spring, and in this case, plants and forests. So let's check out my top 10 forest levels in video games. Same rules apply, only from games I played, one per franchise, and of course, they take place in a forest or woodland. Enjoy the springtime and this list.
Pikachu? Char! Pikachu? Char! Pika! Char! Pika! Char! Char!
To start, let's begin with an iconic though creepy contender for the list. The living forest from Mortal Kombat. Ever since I was a kid, I always loved this place. I thought it was the coolest portion of Outworld in the classic trilogy, ever since its debut in Mortal Kombat 2. As any veteran would tell you, it is indeed one of the best. And in case you're wondering how and why these trees have monstrous mouths and faces, those were created by Shang Tsung as the trees absorbed his doomed collection of souls. Don't let their looks deceive you. They have the most deadliest fatalities in all of Outworld. As you get caught in their limbs, they get yanked and they chew you up, while absorbing your own poor unfortunate soul. Think like Dante's Inferno in its Suicide Woods, only a lot more vicious. Oh, and lest we forget Shaolin monks, as the entire forest comes to life, complete with ascetic pools, constant legions of undead grunts, and even snakes that'll eat your wandering vessel for breakfast. And we can't leave out the challenging boss fight with Reptile and his snake slithering in breakneck speeds. Can we? No wonder it's the location for that awesome Easter egg. I wonder if that's how Game Freak got the inspiration to create the grass ghost type Trevorant. I can definitely see why.
Oh my god. Well, I guess I was able to showcase that.
Oh, try again.
Pikachu!
What's this? A childish Disney entry for this list? That's stupid. Why would you put something as babyish on here? 2 words. My list and Disney Renaissance. In the 80s and 90s, there was hardly anything diluted of Disney, contrary to the assimilating company we have today. And this is the first level in one of my favorite games, The Castle of Illusion, starring Mickey Mouse. In his quest to save Minnie from Mizabel, Mickey traverses through a basic level. It kinda introduces you to the functions of an easy platformer, hardly anything tumultuous, till you escape from a humongous rolling apple waiting to make you mincemeat. Not a boulder, a delicious red apple. I'd take a Granny Smith any day. But it doesn't end there. You come across a sticky situation as you trek through massive spider webs and avoid becoming the tarantula's lunch, while also avoiding pitfalls as well. I can definitely see this as the home of the deadly diamond fly, as well as the monstrous arachnids looming in the kingdom of web and its webs of rage. Then you come across another forest. Nice. Until it instantly turns into night and it's inhabited by slippery phantasms. Although I never found it to be creepy in a sense, even though forests often are, especially with very scary inhabitants looming in the dark. But this level seems more depressing if you listen to the ominous music long enough. You'll find that each level is divided into 3 or 4 parts, from a few tedious sections to your first major boss fight. The old oak tree seems rather easy, sure, but I wonder if it's been inspired by Kirby and his fights with the Wispy Woods. All you gotta do is avoid its charges and falling acorns before you pound its head, and you should be good to go. Then you collect your first Chaos Emerald? Okay, keep in mind, this was developed 1 year before we even had Sonic the Hedgehog. Despite having 7 magical gems representing each color of the rainbow, a rodent collecting 7 multicolored diamonds. Nice level to start out with, and a good contender despite its striking similarities as the catalyst of a future icon. At number 8 is the Hanging Garden from the Bouncer, the first portion as the trio head into Mikado. The guys were stranded as their air carrier crash-landed after the dastardly pilot escaped. And much like the Living Forest, it does have some nerve-wracking stuff. As opaque as this place is, it'll make it easy for enemies to hide, like Mikado's mooks or even their own bloodthirsty canines. Hell, even the leader of the Special Forces, Magetsu, makes his major boss fight here. You need to rely on your eyes and wits in this place, and it's the Hanging Garden since it's literally suspended above the ground by 3 towers. Not to mention Duragon's dome is...
Smack! Dab in the middle of enemy territory.
Also, pro tip, when dealing with the dogs, please rely on the bouncer's tripping moves, as well as those awesome Trinity rushes. Oh, and lest we forget about Sion's flashback as he spars with his master Wong one last time. In fact, this place was so iconic that it even made an appearance when Gohan and Gotenks have an epic final battle there with a Dark Chimera, while the Hanging Garden gets destroyed as the foundation collapses. Spoilers! Overall, the Hanging Garden is a so-so level. Still, I'm glad the Bouncer managed to have some diverse environments, rather than just roaming in a technical setting all the time. It was an easy pick from Vine Valley. While most of the levels take place in an actual forest rather than in jungles, only one stood out to me the most. Just before the iconic Clam City, Orangutan Gang. For starters, I love how the weather transitions into a glorious sunset, and it's not just the parallax background either. As you traverse through the level, you come across several significant enemies, most notably Mankey Kong and his swift deadly barrel tosses. It's too bad we don't see them wield any TNT barrels. That would be more of a challenging feat. I also love how we get to use a lesser-known animal buddy, Espresso. I absolutely loved riding her, mostly as Diddy, even when the claptraps are little to no problem as they go between her legs. Ever since I was young, I always loved hanging out at this level, even close to the end when it turns to dusk. Although it's not the only level consisting Mankey and Espresso. I consider it to be the most iconic for them both, and in all of the third section of Kong Island. I just love this place. Even with the unusual mix of jungle animals make it a whole lot better. The fourth section of Lyoko makes its way onto the list. As the sector leading into Xana's difficult turf, it shows them how tedious it can be. It's no wonder it's named Sector 4, and Xana pulls out all the stops to prevent the Lyoko warriors on deactivating the towers. High landscapes with multiple pitfalls into the energy sea? Check. Tricky platforming, including skinny multiple paths and tree trunks rotating to lose your footing? Check. Populated by very lethal enemies including mega tanks, crabs, hornets, and tarantulas? Check and mate. Auric is usually essential for this level, as he possesses exceptional speed and swift sword moves. Though you have to constantly switch to Yumi when dealing with the tarantulas though. For every sector, I feel it's the iconic home for one Lyoko warrior, as you would need them most. For Auric, it'd be here, Odd for the mountain sector, Yumi for the ice sector, and Aerith for Sector 5. No association with the desert or volcano sectors though. Much like the case with the living forest and the hanging garden, they're designed to keep you on your toes from its strategic platforms and inhabited by deadly foes. And since Auric is essential for this one sector, it just reminds me of a certain other swordsman that is often seen in forests. Speaking of which...
Oh wow. Right. Go. Whee!
How can I not put this iconic forest level on this list? Let alone my all-time favorite Zelda installment. The first major dungeon after Link wakes up 7 years into the future, it really does test the player's psyche and strategies to no end. Located in the cursed Lost Woods past the terrifying Moblins, Saria's sanctuary has turned into a dark and twisted prison. Once you noticed your childhood friend gone, and the Kokiri are at stake, the developers weren't messing around. It's got plenty of aesthetics relating to a mysterious, scary forest, and it's just as easy to get lost. This large establishment can make you wander for hours if you're not dedicated. It's also one of the most scariest with the monsters it's populated with. From the deadly Stelphos to the large Venus flytraps, multiple ghosts including the Poe Sister Quartet, and the dreaded and terrifying Wall Masters and Floor Masters. And lest we forget our first major boss fight after the 7-year slumber with Phantom Ganon. And it's home to a very valuable weapon, the Fairy Bow. Like any forest, it's cryptic, dark, challenging, and sometimes beautiful in some aspects. The puzzle solving is nothing to snuff at either, even though they're not entirely related to woods. It's the perfect place to prepare you for the next 4 stages and your destiny as the hero of time. For the longest time, I always thought the Shadow Temple was my topmost favorite dungeon. But after some hands-on experience, I consider this even more. For once, I agree with Tim on this one, being his own favorite. And even the ominous music suits the dark aesthetics well, even though it kinda sounds like Yoshi's singing. You can tell the developers went all out as Link's first more mature challenge. It's no wonder this was chosen as such, even how so many Hylians became members of the undead, whilst being lost and slewed. Hard to believe that a place of worship could churn into corruption and evil. No wonder it's so beloved by many, including those like NCS, Logan, and even Zeltic. An ideal representative for this list and for the entire Zelda juggernaut. Forget Deathwind. Forget Devil's Forest. This is the hot ticket for a forest level in the F-Zero series. Ever since I encountered this in GX as I was a late teenager, it was just love and sound at first sight. The environment is so livid, as if you're racing through an actual forest despite the twirls, full pipes, and half pipes located throughout. And this song, Planet Colors, is just the icing on the cake. Although it's a damn shame we get to have this awe-inspiring venue in one game. Mobius Ring is awesome in the Sapphire Cup, though it has a tough terrain. Intersection raises the stakes in the Emerald Cup with its crossing short pipe, and the spiral finishing the AX race is the most tumultuous of the bunch. Complete with full pipes, cylinders, and other tumultuous obstacles. Although you should take into account that it's very risky while boosting and taking sharp turns. Otherwise, you'll wind up colliding with its numerous trees. Replant was an oxygen-generated facility, as these advanced intellectual plants automatically emit air when needed for the ever-growing human population as they emigrate to other planets. They also tend to thrive across the universe as well. Hell, this venue in particular inspired me so much that I consider it as the temperate part of Planet Tortoise 3. The same world being the home for the aforementioned Devil's Forest and Deathwind. Even the next-door neighbor to my so-called summer camp, for F-Zero pilots, the Hovercraft Hub. I even wish for Groot to live out his life there. It'd be perfect for him. Greenplant shall always be one of my all-time favorite venues in the series. Never gets old.
Pika.
As a fan of Star Fox Adventures, it definitely deserved the spot. Thorntail Hollow is the breadbasket and starting point of Saria. Fox lands there and he's in for quite a treat. I would consider it more as a forest level than a jungle one from the way it's designed, much like Orangutan Gang. It is home to Prince Tricky and his mom, the Warp Stone, the silent final gatekeeper to Dragon Rock, grub tubs galore including the rare medicinal white shrooms, Shabunga, the shopkeeper of the Thorntail store, and the species itself, which are based from my favorite dinosaur, the Ankylosaur. As the core of Dinosaur Planet as well as the prototype game, there are tons of stuff to do. You'd head back to that hub world numerous times, even more so than with any other level. From saving dinosaur eggs in their own torches, to saving Tricky's mom, to meeting and using the warp stone to go to various places, scarab and item grinding, the list goes on. Also, I love the numerous tracks it plays here, even the main theme for the day and night, the chaotic theme when the Thorntails and Earthwalkers are in trouble, to the heroic jungle beat. It's beautiful, iconic, never gets tiring, and it's most likely that Marcus was born in Thorntail Hollow, rather than just in Saria. I like to believe that. Originally, this was supposed to take the top spot, however, two others just beat it by the limbs.
Pika! Baba! Sa! Pika!
After some research and thinking, I kind of figured Mushroom Hill Zone shall be higher on this list. The first level of Sonic and Knuckles, and the 7th level in the compilation game. Also known as Mushroom Valley, Sonic and in the combined set, Tails continue to chase after Knuckles and Dr. Robotnik through the speedy and lustrous forests of Angel Island. You also encounter Hey-Ho as a mini-boss, and unlike most of the entries, this tends to change its scenery representing each season. It starts in spring with rich green foliage in Act 1, before you encounter the treacherous Echidna and activate a switch as he launches Sonic and Tails upward to a more autumn aesthetic. At the start of Act 2, if you play as Knuckles, he simply busts through the wall and still emerges into it. Eventually, the latter half turns into a more barren setting, possibly symbolizing the dead of winter. Then you come across a satellite dish, and when it's destroyed, Robotnik escapes, and becomes a spring scene again. I guess the radiation waves have been controlling its climate? I don't know. This also functioned as Knuckles' first cutscene as he lounges in the forest with his buddies, till a bomb was set off, and he chases after an egg robo. Regardless, this level is loads of fun. I always loved playing through this level, and I'd much rather have it as a first level, rather than just working towards it. I always kept getting lost and confused in Carnival Night Zone. Mushroom Hill has incredible speed, scenery, and it was nice bouncing on their signature mushrooms and hearing their own boing sound. Better than that annoying enhanced noise of the springs in those two games. Unfortunately, I only encountered it in the double pack than in other games, as I'd only experienced the console version of Sonic Generations. Despite this setback, it is not number 1. Only one shall top it as my all-time favorite forest level. Alright, we counted down the top 9 contenders, but before we get to number 1, let's bring out some honorable mentions.
Pikachu?
Remember on my last environmental level that Banjo-Kazooie got second place? Not anymore! Behold, the 9th and final level of Gruntilda's Lair. And naturally, according to Rare, this was indeed the hardest level to design. It costs a whopping 15 jiggies and 640 notes in order to access it. Just after the nefarious Rusty Bucket Bay. And it also comes with a separated jiggy pad, while the world itself is well hidden. This entire ginormous level revolves around a colossal tree trunk, and each section can be accessed once you find the well-hidden switches. You start at the spring section and the level unfolds with each of the other seasons. Even the numerous tasks shall affect what happens in the next seasonal section. For starters, you take care of its signature eagle, Irie, from letting him sleep throughout the spring, to eating tons of caterpillars in summer and fall, to maturing to an adult eagle and thanking the duo with a jiggy before he flies off in winter. Although you gotta watch out for the nefarious Zubbas along the way. I'm a Melissa-phobic. There's also Naughty, the spinning image of the baddies in Donkey Kong Country, whom you need to help access his home throughout each of the seasons, as well as Nabnut the squirrel. There's also a giant flower budding with Kazooie's eggs and watering it twice from Gobi. And no, I don't feel sorry for that stubborn ongulate. Needless to say, each task must be done in spring first before progressing to the other seasons in an orderly fashion. Otherwise, you wouldn't get the proper rewards. You would need to put in a lot of time and thought into each of the missions before you go through trial and error upon each season. Also, this level really puts your platforming to the ultimate test, especially while preventing on slipping up and falling to your death from an exceptional height within the tree, while avoiding those annoying snare bears and big cluckers. Mumbo's transformation is a bumblebee which provides you with unlimited flight, although it's only accessible for the spring section. Always a catch. In the summer section, he's just seen lounging around. In the autumn section, he's seen sweeping leaves away. And in the winter section, he posted a sign that says he's on vacation. Most likely went to the beach as seen later on. Too bad he's replaced by a beehive. Oh, and a little pro tip, wipe out those annoying Slushes as soon as you can like you would in Freezy Z Peak, while also using Kazooie in the freezing water as you access Nabnut's home and back. Also, the theme itself is loosely based on Oh You Beautiful Doll. Since it's the largest level in the game, it can be a little repetitive and easy to get lost in it, which is why I would always highly recommend the Great Clements LP. That was how I got my bearings anyway. And also make sure you stick with the Microsoft version instead of the original N64, as the latter is better since it saves your progress and you won't have to start over again. Because Microsoft is more superior with the achievements and is the lesser draconian company. I'm the Ekron Rider, and Click Clock Wood shall forever be my most favorite forest level. Oh, and Edie's fan is gonna gush at me, because it's the first time Banjo-Kazooie made it in first place. Well done, guys.